get back to our data and do one last thing with it, and I want to show you how to plot something. So if you remember, we used some simple functions to plot the daily rain for the days of December, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. So now we want to plot that. So in order to plot that, we need to click on the Insert tab on Excel. So we click Insert, and we navigate to our chart icons, and we can select a bunch of charts from here. And if we hover our mouse over each chart icon, it will tell us what type of chart it is. So let's start off with something simple. So we click on the 2D line chart, and we click on the first graph. Okay, so now it's highlighted everything. I'm going to just redo this because okay, so let's do that again. So if we click Insert and we click Line Chart, we're going to get a blank canvas. But now we want to add data to this canvas, and remember, we want to add the rainfall data. So we're going to navigate our mouse to the Select Data button, click on it, and we're going to add a series. Now a series is a line, so a line consists of X and Y data points. So let's add a series and call it daily rain. Daily rain. And we're going to want to select the Y values, and to do that we just click this little button to the right, and we'll see our little select to move up, and we highlight all the data that we want, and we plot our data. And there we have a line graph of our daily rain. Okay, so now we've got a chart title, so that's great, and we've got a vertical and a horizontal axis. And we want to make some changes to these vertical and horizontal axes, so let's do that. Now, if I want to make a change to the vertical axis, I want to add a chart element. So under the Chart Design tab, I navigate to the left, and you'll see a little icon that says Add Chart Element. And if we click on that, I can add an axis title. So let's add a vertical title. Okay, and now we want to type in our title. So our axis title is rainfall. So let's just delete axis title and type in rainfall and give the units, which are millimeters per 5 minutes in this instance. Okay, and I also want to add a horizontal label, so I navigate back to Add Chart Element, to move to Axis Title, add a horizontal label, and I want to call this Date. Currently, it is not the date, it's just a number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's because we have 4 data points. So in order to change this, the first thing we can do is create a date from the year, month, and day values. So I've done that here. See if you can do that. I've used the function date to do this. Okay, so I want to click back on my chart, go to Chart Design, and navigate to Select Data. Here you'll see our daily rain series, and I want to add a horizontal category axis labels. So if I click on my little button on the right and highlight the dates that I've created, click OK, you'll see that now instead of 1, 2, 3, and 4, you see the date labels. But now here's an interesting question. Is a line graph correct for this data? Now remember, we've got the total rain for each day, but is it correct to draw a line between each point? I want you to think about that for a second. So just pause this video and think about it. Now it turns out the answer to this is actually you do not want to plot a line graph because you do not know all the points between each data point. So how do we do this? Well, we could add points to our line. So if we wanted to do that, we can change the chart type. So let's change the chart type to a line graph with markers. So if we click that, we'll see our markers. We may want to format the size of these markers. So if we click Format, and we say Series, we want to format the series Daily Rain, and click the Format pane. All we can do is click on the paint bucket, click on our markers, and change the size of our marker. So let's increase the width of our markers. Sorry, I'm changing the border. So let's go, we have to click on built-in and change the size. So let's change the size of our markers. Okay. Close the panel, click off our graph, and you can now see the markers. But again, we've still got these lines between each point, and that also isn't correct. We could then change this to a scatter graph, but it's a little bit difficult to see because you have these small points in the series. So generally with something like rainfall, the best thing that we can do is actually plot a bar graph. So let's do that by changing our chart type to column. And we're going to select the first one. And now you can see that we've changed our chart to a column, well, a bar plot, where it tells us the total value of the rainfall each specific day. Okay, so now we've learned a little bit about plotting, and we're going to turn our attention to the full data set of the rainfall and do some simple exercises where you can now apply what you've learned.